Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Meta Cafe. Grab your cup of coffee, your tea, sit back, and let's chat today about the astrology, human design, gene keys, whatever else comes up for us for today and on through the weekend. If you are joining us for the first time, welcome. And my name is Janet Hickox. I am an astrologer and human design consultant, and I am also becoming a Gene Keys ambassador. So I've got my fingers in a whole lot of different types of astrology. And for those of you who are with me typically in the morning, you notice I have somebody sitting to my left, right, upside down. I'm not sure where she is sitting as compared to me, but I would love to introduce you all to Tam Veilleux, who is working very closely with me right now, or I'm working very closely with her, I should say, contributing the astrology to a huge project that I want her to be able to share with you all this morning. Good morning, Tam, and welcome to the Meta Cafe.
I am so excited to be here, Janet. Thank you for having me.
We are excited to have you too. And this is something that, by the way, good morning, Suzanne. Good morning, Michelle. This morning, you may see comments from me and you may see comments from Tam. So I hope we can interact that way. I love it when we can. Let's see if that plan works. So if you have questions for Tam while we're going through the process, please type them in. I think she will be able to interact with you.
I'm going to try it right now. I'm going to say good morning.
Yeah, there you go. Let's see how that works. In the meantime, I wanted to let everybody know that this was something that was magical. And, anything in my life that is really worth its salt is always coming to me and through things in magical ways. And actually, I was sort of introduced to Tam by a woman named Emily, who I used to be on a radio show platform with her called Authentic You Media. And this was like in 2013, 2014, but I've sort of, kept friends through Facebook as we all can, keep contact with one another. And she reached out and she said, there's this woman that I think you really need to meet. And, she's working on this awesome project and she needs to partner with someone. And would you be interested? And I was just getting ready to leave, as you all know, for the summer. And it was really funny. And I said to Emily, I would love to meet her. I said, I'm going to be gone for the next few weeks. And I guess, Tam, you were also going to be busy doing something. So it was not in the stars for us to connect back in June and July. But after I got home, one day I was sitting here and I was thinking, it wasn't actually in July when we first connected. It was more like August, maybe early, even in September. And I was thinking about Tam and I was thinking about this project, even though I wasn't sure what it was yet, when out of the blue, she reaches out and connects with me the very same day, like within a couple of hours of me even thinking about this. And I went, woo, I got chill bumps, Tam. I just had all these chill bumps because I was like, wow, there must be something to this because I'm thinking about her and she shows up. It was so exciting. So I want to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself, tell people a little bit about what you do and about, kind of the bigger picture of these projects that you're working on. All right?
That sounds, I'd love to tell everybody about what's going on. Yes. And please stop me if you have to. Okay, so first of all, it was really a very synchronistic meeting that we had. You're right. On my end, I had been told about Janet, and yet she was taking off for vacation. And I had this idea that was just exploding in my head. It was just, and so I had spent, while Janet had given me the poo-poo, she has vacation, and I'm over here going, what? I interviewed so many astrologers. I kept going to somebody and they'd go, well, that's not for me. And they would push me off. And then they'd say, well, yeah, I'm really interested. And they'd take on my project and then 2 weeks later write back to me and go, yeah, I'm not going to have time. So the fact that when I finally ended up, through inspiration, going back to Janet, accidentally tripping upon her email from the summer saying she was going away, I reached out to her and she said, no way, because I was thinking of you today. And it was so very, very synchronous. Even though I haven't told you who I am or what I do yet, I want you guys to know that that Janet said to me in our first meeting, we did a Zoom meeting. She said to me, I totally see your vision. And the moment that she said that, I knew I found my partner. She was the first person who totally saw the potential of a project that can be absolutely amazing. So thank you, Janet.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Okay, so who am I? I am Tam, and Tam I am. And yes, I like little Dr. Seuss. I am a teacher, healer, artist is how I like to say it. I use so many different ways of describing myself. I'm really a transformational coach. My gift in coaching is helping people to make peace with their past. I'm really, really good at helping people identify their story, their problem, and then get them through that. Now, what's also interesting about me is this artist piece of me, who I've been an artist my entire life, who can actually draw what you're speaking so people can see what you mean. So I literally can draw on the fly what we're talking about and create an image that will illustrate exactly what's going on in a conversation. It's called graphic recording. Who knew? It's an actual thing.
I love it.
So I have this gift of coaching. I love it. I have a great coaching practice with group coaching and private coaching, and I'm having a ball. But, you know, back in the spring of 2018, I started praying, wanting to know, I was asking God, like, this isn't, even though I love coaching and I'm great at it, my clients have amazing results, like, I know that there's more, and I miss being creative. And
oh, yeah.
I was literally in prayer mode. Like, what about my creativity? I can't just leave that on the table. So I was gifted through a massive intuitive hit, the idea of creating an almanac of illustrations of the astrology at play. So if anybody out there who's listening, maybe you guys know Janet well enough and you know astrology well enough, but it used to totally confuse me when somebody would say Mars square Venus, or
like astro speak. What does all that mean?
speak. Exactly. It's astro speak. And I'm like, what are they saying? So what I would do is start listening for the actual explanation of what does Mars square Venus mean. And then I started to draw them. And what happened was I ended up with a product called Moon Maps. And this was 2 years ago. I developed a product called Moon Maps. And once a month, according to the astrology at play, I would draw an illustration, and I have actual tick boxes where you would say, like, plan the week ahead with a checkbox, or don't decide about travel this week. And I would pay really close attention. I would draw it out. People loved it. People loved the moon maps, and it became a product, and I sold those. Well, then, being an artist, I'm always trying to create something. I ended up developing this amazing thing called the Magic Maker's Planner and Playbook. Here you go, Janet. Can you see it?
Yep. And everybody else can. I put you solo on the screen so they can see you in the book.
Okay, so let me open the book. So the Magic Maker's Planner and Playbook has an annual energy sketch. This is a sketch that indicates what was going on for 2018 according to numerology. And we're talking about the 11-year. I'm sure you talk about it all the time. And a leadership. No, you don't? You do? I don't know.
I'm so into the gene keys and human design and astrology that if I added numerology to it, I think it would just be overload.
But I wanted to have an overview about numerology and the 11 years. So I put that one, I put these sketches in there, and then I put some information about what the moons were going to do every month of the year. So there's this amazing planner that people can use for goal setting and for access consciousness. For those of you who love access consciousness, I have questions in there. How does it get any better than this? What else is possible, right? So I have access consciousness in here. It's a very playful planner.
I love it. It's beautiful.
And it's got all of my hand-drawn sketches in it. And so, all right, so now I've got a planner. I know about moon maps. What happens if I kind of marry the information of planning around what's going on astrologically? So that was when I had my astrology rep done for the first time. I had never had a natal chart, Janet.
What?
I only had my first natal chart this summer. Like while you were on vacation, I got an astrologer who I really love. And yeah, she did my natal chart. And that's where I discovered that I actually am perfectly blueprinted to create the Energy Almanac, which is spirituality and publication. I'm a September 22nd birthday. I think you told me that. Does that make me a 0 Libra?
It does make you 0 Libra. And actually, you could have been a 29 Virgo. It just depends on what time of day and what time the actual equinox occurred.
Gotcha.
So, but you're right at that 0 point. You are Libra, but of course, you're on a cusp. So you also take on those Virgo qualities. I bet your workstation is perfectly neat and organized.
Yeah, well, sometimes.
Mine's never.
There you go. Good. And then I started looking at my birthday personality, which is a whole other aspect. And I started looking, not everybody, most of the people who are born on my birthday, September 22nd, fall under the information of master builder. And that's really who I am. I'm a person who loves creating and building things, whether it was my coaching practice and group coaching, which I've loved, building a planner. I have a vision board that's feng shui vision board that people can get. I love building things. That's just who I am. And now I have this amazing, let me grab it, this amazing thing that I think is going to help translate astro speak for the masses.
I'm going to put you back on solo so people can see that if you pull that in just a little bit, they'll be able to see the Energy Almanac. It's beautiful.
So inside of the Energy Almanac, and this is just a prototype, there's going to be illustrations that indicate when to zig and when to zag. Am I showing it okay? I can't see.
Yes, you are. If you pull it back just a little bit, it'll be a wider screen.
Okay.
Perfect right there.
So these are illustrations that actually can be reflection tools that you'll be able to pull them out of the magazine and put them in a frame and have it at your desk as a reference that will say, oh yeah, this month practice patience. Because maybe that should be for me every day, really. It's reflection tools, because how often do you read your astrology once at the beginning of the month and then you're supposed to remember all these things that might be affecting you? And I know for me, I used to make a list like, oh yeah, remember this and remember that. But with a beautiful frameable inspirational tool on your desk, you can be reminded all month long, oh yeah, don't travel this month. Really pay attention to your health. And then add in a full moon, a new moon, and all the insight that goes with that, written by somebody like Janet Hickox. And the human design piece of it, it's amazing. And there's actually other things going into it, like numerology, which gemstone is going to be beneficial for each month, and which essential oil is going to be essential to your body and to your environment each month. I mean, I'm going like holistic approach. I'm actually working right now on the movement piece, because we know movement is so important to transformation.
Right.
So I didn't say this. I live and love in Maine. I'm so blessed to live on the mid coast of Maine, the other ocean, the right coast. You're on the left coast.
I'm on the left coast. She's on the right coast.
Yes. And we live both very close to the ocean. I'm just steps away. She's just steps away. I'm happily married. I have 4 adult kids and my first granddaughter, and life is just amazing and creative and thrilling.
I did not realize you had 4 adult kids. I do too.
Yeah, 4 of them.
I have like 9 grandchildren.
Oh, you're so lucky. I only have 1 right now.
Absolutely the loves of my life. And it's amazing how grandchildren change your perspective of raising children and how to be different, you know?
Oh.
So Tam, tell us now the Energy Almanac right now is still, it's in the idea, it's in the pre, how would you say that? The pre-building stage, or it's in the
It's being built.
getting ready to launch stage.
Yeah, all of that. It's being built and it's ready to launch. We're actually, Janet, taking pre-orders right now for the Energy Almanac and for the 2019 planner through a Kickstarter program that I've been working on.
Right. So tell us about the Kickstarter program and how people can get involved and help us to get your dream into reality.
Well, thank you for allowing me to speak about that. The Kickstarter program, Kickstarter is crowdfunding. And with crowdfunding, many people make the mistake of thinking, well, this is me giving to your business. It really isn't. This is about getting an idea that otherwise may struggle to get off the ground. It's just giving it liftoff by actually having an opportunity to pre-order the item that you're choosing to back. So Kickstarter is like a backer program where you actually get the item. You actually are going to, if you choose to support the product, you get a copy of it either digitally so that you could have it as a PDF, or you can get it as a hard copy magazine that you would carry day to day around your house, including the planner. I have group coaching options in there. If you are looking for a really spiritual place to create transformation, I have a contribution level that you can give, and you can actually buy your way right into the Kickstarter. So there it is right there. That's the Kickstarter.
Yeah, I'm showing them the Kickstarter page. I don't know if that shows up very well because I just see it very small. So if you can't really see it, let me see if do you see the screen moving, Tam?
I sure do.
Oh, awesome. Okay, so I'm actually not looking at the BeLive screen. I'm looking at the Kickstarter, and you can see that you've already been able to get pledges of $3,069. So this is working.
It's exciting. It's exciting, and it's going to take more because you can actually see how much we're looking for, because everybody who's participating in it deserves their pay. They're putting in a lot of work. Janet has put in a ton of work for this, as am I. However, the numerologist, the printer, the biggest chunk of the money that we're raising is for actually printing the publication. So wow. It's an amazing project. I feel like getting more people to understand what Janet is talking about when she says Mars square Venus, wait a minute, Moon conjunct Saturn in early Capricorn. Wait a minute, what does that mean? I want people to be able to see what you mean. I want them to see what you mean. And that's the whole idea behind the Energy Almanac. So I would ask, hey, there's Monique. Oh, I'm so glad you made it. Good morning. Monique is part of my tribe.
Wow, hello, Monique. Welcome. I'm actually going to show the link. I know that there's a shorter link, but for those of you who are watching, you may be able to take that, copy and paste it into your browser, and it will take you to the Kickstarter page where you can become a contributor. And there are so many different levels I noticed that are available for people to be able to share, from their bounty, from their abundance. And tell us about that. I mean, because there are things that people get in return for participating.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, people can pre-order their copy of the Energy Almanac. So anything over $25, you'll get either digital ink or you'll get real ink, the actual hard copy. But beyond that, the Soul Squad level of contribution is my favorite. And I say hashtag Soul Squad because I am so blessed to run a group coaching program where the women in there are almost like sisters. It's so beautiful. And it's called the Manifestival, and it's actually a DIY transformation process. And I go in and I interact, and we coach people through change. So that Soul Squad level gets you the planner, the Energy Almanac, you get a coloring page of the 2018 energies at play, and you get membership into the Manifestival. Now, over that level, you get all of those things that I just mentioned, plus private coaching with me. And private coaching is where you really get to dig deep into your stories and create massive breakthroughs. So that's a lot of fun. And the level that's the biggest level that I'm the most excited about, and I hope some small business is going to take me up on this, is the $5,000 contribution level, where I'm going to do VIP weekend retreat with these people. And I'm going to show them up, and I'm going to take them through my transformation process and give them all these other goodies.
Nice.
And Janet doesn't even know this, but I'm going to facilitate, and I'm hoping Janet will come on and participate, a 90-minute webinar just for people who have the almanac, so that they can understand an overview, high level, of what's going on in 2019. And I think that's going to be just amazing.
What? I think that would be so much fun.
Right?
You know, this whole project has been really interesting, as I have, had to go deep. I mean, I'm used to looking kind of at the broader picture of a year and what's coming up using numerology and all of my other tools, but I've had to go deep. And at times, as some of my listeners know, because I shared that, it has been painful as as I'm, looking ahead and seeing, some really heavy things lining up, but without the context through which it's happening.
Yeah.
So it has been a challenge to be able to do this. And it made me think about how challenging it is for people on a day-to-day basis to even understand the energy that's going on. So you being able to put it both in pictures and me being able to put it in words, and the numerologists that we're working with putting it into words and then into pictures, it makes it so much more understandable for everybody.
Well, that's just it. I'm glad you spoke about that. I know you and I were chatting about the energies next year, that some of the heavy stuff that's coming up, and I actually could feel it through what you were writing, how intense it's going to be. And right now, that's kind of my message to people, like, understand. So, right, the example last week or 2 weeks ago with the United States Kavanaugh Ford thing, it was really heavy. And a lot of people couldn't understand what they were talking about. And so I asked you, Janet, like, what is that play? And what did you tell me?
That it was about the masculine and the feminine Mars squaring Venus.
And so I did this.
Oh, hold on. I'm going to put you on solo screen so everybody can see that. A return to balance. I love it. Now,
considering how people were really struggling with the entire situation in the United States, and I actually had people coming to me, there's more to this. What's going on? Help me understand, because I can't sleep. And so I was able to tell them, this is about a return to balance. It's a return to power. And I used the terms Mars squared Venus, and this is what it might look like for you. And then they're like, oh, it's not just me, because everybody was vibrating so intensely over the last weeks. It was such a gift for them to see it like this.
It really does distill it down to what its basic meaning is. And literally that was the best description of all of this energy, where, these are titanic energies. You just can't even imagine how big this really is to bring this in.
Right.
I mean, just notice how everybody was feeling emotionally. We're so cued into all of this energy.
Yes.
And when it distills down, it's really about bringing things back into balance or harmony. And, Mars has, held the balance of power, and now Venus is having to build hers. And so it's literally about that.
So you have this great gift of being able to really understand and look at all of that. But my gift is in distilling it, really getting it basic. People have, when I said I am Tam and Tam I am, I love Dr. Seuss. He's very simple and succinct. He's a little bit witty. And that's my gift. And that is, so to bring it into the world in a bigger way. As a matter of fact, I did a sketch yesterday. I love just playing with sketches. So can you see that one?
Yeah, hold on. I'm going to put you back in center screen and hide your name. There you go. Now pull it in just a little bit and maybe up a little bit. Up, higher. Okay, so I see what is actually available and possible. And the other side says what I know. I love it. And I can't read the words underneath. There's something that...
let your barriers down.
Ah, yes. Very nice.
So if you keep yourself in this little, like, this is what I know, so take that. Look what's around that bubble. all this possibility.
Right.
You know, I can take a little quote or a paragraph and bring it down into what does that translate to in my brain as an image? We know that the brain loves images. That's a key piece of the work I do with my clients, is that the brain loves images. So we work with imagery when breaking down an old trauma. And that's how we create a breakthrough for them. It's pretty powerful.
I like to, that's perfect, because I like to say to people, I'm going to say the word ice cream. And what happens with you as an individual is your brain is now seeing that, not in the word ice cream written across your forehead, but the picture of whatever ice cream means to you. Is it a cone? Is it in a bowl? Is it just eaten out of the carton? Is it Cherry Garcia? Is it, what is it? And it's going to be different for everybody, but the brain actually does think in pictures. Yes. And then we translate the picture into words, and words get translated to picture. It's back and forth. So this is the perfect blending.
Perfect. It is the perfect blending. I agree.
Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful. What else would you like to tell us about this project? What's the timeline here? Because I know this is on a timeline, or this Kickstarter campaign is.
I forget to tell the key information. The Kickstarter program is only running for another 25 days, I believe. I think today's day 5. November 7th is
to go, it says.
How many?
26 days to go.
Days to go. So I have 26 more days to get it funded. And the truth is, Janet, if I don't meet my funding goal, then none of the money actually gets to come to the project. It just goes away. So anybody who is making a contribution, your credit card or your debit card will not get hit until November 7th if we hit the funding goal.
And it's a pretty hefty funding goal, but it's what, $45,550.
Yep.
And I mean, really, that seems pretty reasonable if you think about all of the expenses involved, with the people involved and the printing and getting it from concept to production.
Right.
And I don't know what 3,000 is of 45, but a chunk is taken away, right? You're there.
So I'm using all of my best coaching tools to keep my energy up and stay in the right vibration. I know that Jupiter is giving that expansive feeling right now. That's correct, I hope.
Yep.
And
yes.
I'm going to lean into that. I'm really leaning in on optimism and expansion, and it's testing all that I am, and I love it. I feel like this is going to be a massive transformation for who I am. So it's kind of cool.
I think it's really cool. And we're going to give you an example of this right now, as I'm going to transition a little bit right now into talking about the energy of the weekend. And, we deserve to have some good news on the horizon, right? We deserve to have something good for us, because it's been so intense over the last couple of days. Yeah, several days. I think this whole week has been one of those more intense weeks that we've had, no matter, about the Kavanaugh thing or about, any of the other, stuff that goes on. This particular week with the hurricane that, devastated Florida, and with the, I didn't know if you guys on the right coast heard about the left coast and the gas line explosion that occurred in Canada. And it affected all of us here on the West Coast. I even received an email from our electric company asking us to try not to use our natural gas, because it was going to be a problem. But either way you look at it, there are these shocks that this week has brought to us. And finally, this weekend, we have the moon moving into Sagittarius. And actually, that occurs sometime today. And it is allowing us more optimism and a sense of some positive energy coming, expansive energy. Our friend out here, Debbie, who lives in Panama City, actually a little town just kind of north and west of it, is probably going to be heading home this weekend back from Jacksonville to where she lives to try to see how her home is fared. And I just feel like with this energy this weekend that people may be going home and being surprised at how intact their things really are, not to cut anything that's happened. I mean, there's true devastation there, but there's this little glimmer of hope. Maybe perhaps the death toll is a whole lot less than we expected. Maybe the damage, as catastrophic as it is easily removed and rebuilt. I mean, that's the vision that we can hold. So this weekend does bring us this positive energy. And we also end up with this weekend being the beginning of the new Human Design Week. And we talked a bit about this yesterday, guys, where the Earth is going to be sitting at a gate 42 and the Sun at the gate 32. And this gives us access to completing something in order to start something new. So I think about the hurricane almost is the perfect metaphor. You got to clear away the debris, assess where you've been and what needs to be done, and then begin the process of building. And it's the same thing in our own lives. I mean, this is happening for all of us at the same time. So we are being tasked, if you will, if I can use that word, to complete something, clear the way, and get ready for something new. And the only thing that can hold you back is where the Sun is, and it's at gate 32. Remember, the Sun's sitting on all of the gates of fear over the course of the month of October. And the fear this coming week is about failure. If I do this, am I going to fail? And it being on the spleen is all about time. And that means the moment you choose to act in spite of the fear, you dissipate it and you can move forward. So big energies this weekend, but also very positive energies. As we get into later Sunday, we have the moon transitioning out of Sagittarius and into Capricorn. And it gives us an edge on the week. I love it when the moon kind of falls in the afternoons on a Sunday, because it allows us access to planning. What's going to be up for our week? If I could just sit there and dream up how my week is going to go, that would be good for Capricorn or the moon in Capricorn on a Sunday, right? Because now I can see what goals I might need to set. If I had a goal to reach a certain dollar amount, let's say this week in sales or in donations, let's say, what can I plan? How do I plan to get there? We have that kind of mindset of being able to plan and organize as we get to the end of the weekend. Kind of love that. Jupiter, don't forget, has shifted. I'm not even going to use the lower terms, the lower frequency energies. I'm just going to tell you Jupiter has shifted into bounteousness. And I love that word. It speaks to abundance. It speaks to prosperity. It speaks to abundance. I just can't even think of a better word. Bounteousness, right? Bounteousness. And that sits there for a couple of weeks. So we have access to abundance. And I think that's a joyful expression for us. And I used that word deliberately, Tam, because later in the week, and this is something we'll probably delve into more on Monday, but today I can tell you that Saturn had been in retrograde and moved back to the gate of joy, and now it's moved forward back to the gate of joy and creating bliss. Saturn, the taciturn one, right? The disciplinarian, the master at arms, teaching us to be in joy. And it being a foundational energy, it sits on the root center of your human design. That means all things spring from joy. It's an impulse that goes through and ripples out of you into the world, this energy of joy. I can't think of a better energy for us to come out of this last week into that energy of joy. Mm. So, what you got there, girl? Let's take a look.
So I had asked ahead of time for a little bit of information. So you'd have to tell me where I can put this.
Right there. Perfect.
So start by my pinky here, by the moon.
It says moon and Sag, happy face. Underneath that, it says optimism and expansiveness. And you've got a tree there, which I think is beautiful because, tree blooming. And there's another word under there. I can't see it. Is it Saturday? Yes. Is it gratitude?
It just says Saturday morning, AM, PM, Sunday, AM, PM.
Okay, gotcha. So over on the other side, then we have begin something new, face your fear. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. And plan and
Organize.
organize the week ahead. New and a calendar, October. And what does that say? The weekend? Weekend.
There you go.
I love it. And so essentially, then what you've done is you've just taken all those words that I've said and you've distilled them down into their picture parts.
Something pleasing to look at that will remind you. Mostly when I'm working with the drawing, it's based on some language somebody has heard. So all of the listeners here today heard you give it. Now they're like, oh yeah, I remember she said blah, blah, blah. Now, you gave them a lot more information. I probably would have added a few other things had I known all of it, but this was just a kind of a snippet of what you talked about.
Yeah, and therein lies part of the problem is that I have a gate in my human design that causes me to sometimes tap into super consciousness. And so sometimes I don't even know what it is that's going to be said ahead of time. It just sort of comes out. And that makes it a little more difficult to pre-plan something like this. But if you were sitting there just drawing right now about the energy of bounteousness and joy, what would that be? I mean, it would come out of you in some way, in some kind of explosion in words translated to picture.
It would. When you said the gate of joy, I was like, oh, and I started drawing a fence with the word joy on it and it opening, like,
I love it.
So cool. Susie,
it's perfect. So even in the moment, you could be drawing something.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And that happens a lot. I just like to get them a little bit tighter by having, it's helpful if I can do it ahead of time. However, I can also do it on the fly. And I do that with all my coaching clients. They get images about their coaching sessions, exactly what they went through. Yeah.
It's such a gift. I mean, if I could do that, I can't even doodle what you do.
Yes, you can.
Oh, that's funny. And it's interesting because, many times psychologists and so forth want you to doodle because, somehow in your doodling, there's this access to your unconscious mind. And I kind of like that, that metaphor that, whatever it is that you're doodling is sort of something that's coming up from the depths. And I think, in your case, what you're giving us access to is the picture that we could maybe focus on that reminds us about all of the energy that's going on.
You just said it. And I'm actually thinking about, like, Suzanne, I'm looking at her comments. She says, I have a lot of sisters that try to watch the morning show, but can't follow if they've not been here from the beginning. So this would be so helpful. So Suzanne, what I want to say to you is something like the Energy Almanac would be the monthly overview that you would know about. And then you can either, it's more that I want to talk to Janet about how we can bring this down to a weekly drawing or a week, maybe 2 drawings a week, a weekend and a week at a glance, so that anybody, and I'm not sure what that looks like yet. We'll have to talk about that. But can you imagine the benefit of having a weekly reflection tool? Because I think of the Energy Almanac as a reflection tool. That's how I see it.
I know we can do that. I'm thinking about that because I'm already anyway thinking ahead to what's going. I live so far in the future because I'm having to detail information far in the future, or at least a week in advance. Right. So I do have access to that.
We're gonna talk. I have some ideas.
Of course you do. Of course you do, you little idea machine.
But you have the blueprint.
I do. Yeah, that's another interesting thing that we discovered. Both of us, she said one day to me that something about being the master builder. I mean, that's her. She was born on September 22nd. It has master builder energy. I already knew that about her. You could just tell that about her. And then I shared with her that I had an Akashic Records reading. And in that, my role on the planet was that I was part of the human blueprint team. And how interesting that I do human design, because blueprinters were all about creating the human template, the design for humans. And it was so funny because I said, oh, well, you're the master builder, but I've got the blueprint.
I'm the builder.
Yeah, so she's the builder from the blueprint. So I'm providing the skeleton from which the building can be done. Right. And it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense why we would come together in that way to be able to share the work that you're doing. And it's such a beautiful, creative expression of the astrology or the numerology, the energy of the day of the week.
Yeah. Well, thank you. It's just been such a joy working with you. And I'm going to ask that anybody who resonates with the project, you know, if you know somebody who can benefit from the Energy Almanac, when and if you make a contribution, please share the link. Let other people know about the potential for this to touch their life in a really, really good way. And also, if you have small business, or if there are 3 sisters and you want your weekend retreat, make the bigger investment and we'll do your breakthrough together. There's nothing like transforming in a group. It's pretty incredible. And I live in Maine, which is the most spectacular state in the nation. No offense to any of the others.
It's second to Washington.
Oh, right. That's what I meant. Second to Washington. Yeah. That's my invitation. And it's just such a joy to work with you. I really appreciate all of this.
I love it. I just realized you had been typing into the chat and she says chunky monkey ice cream. Isn't that fun, right?
Yeah.
I love my favorite's Cherry Garcia, obviously, because that's what I mentioned. So Tam, in closing here, I know there was a bit.ly link, a smaller link. Do you have easy access to that?
Yeah, I do.
I went to it through a different way, so I didn't use the link and I don't have it handy. I want to be able to, bring that up for people. And let me get that one.
Dropping it in right now. Boom. That's the bit.ly link. And also, I didn't say my website, but I'll put it in here in case anybody wants to check me out.
Please share your website, how they can get a hold of you, what your services are. If anything you want to tell us about you, please do.
I'll drop some into the chat box there, and I'll go in behind after this is done and just check in with people, see if there's anything I can answer or help with.
Thank you.
I love what I do. It's a pleasure to finally sort out my real reason for being here. I feel like the Energy Almanac is really the real reason that I'm on the planet. So thank you.
And I'm getting ready to put up your website, which is Choose Big Change.
Yes.
Did that not work? No, it did not. Hold on just a moment, everyone. I will have that up. So choosebigchange.com.
Yeah, there it is.
That's Tam's website where you can look at all of the different services she has. You can purchase the planner. You can purchase the, or you can pre-buy the almanac on that website, or do they have to do that through the Kickstarter campaign?
Kickstarter right now. Later on, I'll put it just on the website, but for now, everything is running through the Kickstarter.
Okay. And then if you, hold on, let me hide that and get this taken out. And then I will put in your email address if you want to talk to Tam about coaching or anything else that you would like. There is her email, tam@choosebigchange.com.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Tam. This has been a pleasure. Let's see if there are any questions out there. Shauna says, Washington. Good morning, Shauna. I didn't say good morning to you before.
The only one that can compete with Maine because we're so similar.
You know, it's funny because the other day I was sitting out there on the beach and I took a picture and I sent that to you. And you said, I didn't even know what possessed me to send a picture to you at that moment. And it's pretty funny how similar that the two coasts really are, yet I've never been there, but I would imagine that you're looking at very similar scenery.
It was
water,
incredible how similar. When you sent that picture, I was blown away. So remarkably similar. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a beautiful state. It's so beautiful. April, good morning, April. Hello. Hello, everyone. Suzanne says it will work. Suzanne, you know, I am really fascinated by what your comment was. I have a lot of sisters that try to watch the morning show but can't follow if they've not been here from the beginning. So this would be so helpful. Well, that would be so helpful, but that whole comment is helpful to me because it reminds me that there are new people that pop in or new people that, you know, people who I've been doing this, Tam, since last August, a year ago, this past August. So most of these listeners have been with me for a length of time, and I forget that maybe new people don't understand what we're talking about. So Suzanne, thank you so much for sharing that, because it gives me an idea of maybe, going backwards, maybe going back and, to the beginning a bit, and, reestablishing what is astrology, what is human design, what are the gene keys, and what kind of work are we doing together. So that's fascinating. And I love it that maybe Tam, this is a weekly project we come together and do on air. I don't know. But thank you, Suzanne, for sharing that comment. It's huge. And Asa, good morning. Monique, good morning. Colleen, good morning. Debbie, we love you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Waves of love. Diane, good morning. Londa, good morning. Michelle, I think I've hit everybody. If I've missed you, I'm sorry. I just don't see it there. But much love to all of you. Tam, much love to you. Thank you so much for being here with me this morning, sharing your creativity and your joy in doing the Magic Makers Planner and Playbook. I love that. And letting us know all about the Energy Almanac. And for all of you, our hearts go out to everybody who might be hurting, but look forward to some better energy this weekend. And thank you all for joining us this morning. Mwah, to everybody. Mwah, to you, Tam. All right. See you all on Monday. Take care.